Welcome to SFA All Access. Did you know SFA has its own yearbook? Today we'll be talking about the Stone Fort yearbook when we come back, so stay tuned. Welcome to SFA All Access. I'm your host, Blaine Williamson, and today we'll be taking a closer look into the SFA Stone Fort yearbook. With us this morning is the editor-in-chief of the Stone Fort yearbook, Miss Megan Morton. Welcome, Megan. How are you today?
Hi, how are you?
I'm all right. Today we're talk about the Stone Fort yearbook. I feel like you know a thing or two about that. Am I right?
Well, I am the editor-in-chief, so I hope so.
Yeah.
But I'm also the graduate assistant with the Department of Student Publications.
Okay.
So, I guess today we can just talk a little bit about the yearbook and just to touch on a little bit of student publications in general.
Okay. Awesome. So what do you do as editor-in-chief? That sounds like a really cool title. So what do you actually do?
So, in the beginning of the year, when well, I should say the academic year, you go to a workshop, you kind of figure out what the theme of your book is going to be, and just go over a couple of storytelling devices. And for people who are not versed in your book, just go over different kinds of pages and layouts and things like that. Then finally, when you come back home, I had to hire my entire staff, so go through interviews and pick who I wanted to be photographers and section editors who design the pages. And then we set up our deadlines throughout the year. We have about 5 to 6 deadlines throughout the year.
Mm-hmm.
And our company we work with is Balfour, so we have to send in all of our materials to them, and then they send us proofs. We go over those proofs, and then we send back the finals. It's around April, late April, early May when we have our final deadline, and about mid-May when we're done completely with a yearbook.
Okay. Wow. So how did you get into this position? I mean, did you do yearbook in high school? How did you get to where you are now?
So all the way back when I was a sophomore in high school, I started off as, I believe, just a photographer. I'm not completely sure. It's been a while ago. So I did it my sophomore year, junior, senior year in high school. We didn't have a newspaper in high school, so
Okay.
I didn't have the option to do that. Then I decided I was going to go to college. I went to Kilgore College. Unfortunately, their newspaper program or their journalism program is no longer a thing. But I worked on the Flare, which was their student newspaper. Started as just a writer and then moved on my way up to editor-in-chief. Then I interviewed with the editor-in-chief of the Pine Log, which is SFA's student newspaper, and came over in an editor position through transferring, which that doesn't usually happen. So little props to me, I guess.
Yeah.
But then I graduated with my bachelor's in mass communication and came back for grad school after a semester. And they just asked me to be editor-in-chief of the yearbook.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had such a good repertoire with Amy Rockmore and Rachel Clark, who are the director and coordinators of student publications. They just asked me to be editor-in-chief of the yearbook.
Oh, that's really cool. So what is one thing that you would say you would have picked up from being within like the Stone Fort program?
Ooh, there's so many things. Honestly, I've been in student publications for such a long time. I guess one of the things that I've really learned or really put into practice this year is that sometimes you have to treat, all the time really, you have to treat people equitably rather than equally. That meaning when you're working with a staff or a group of people, sometimes you have to approach them in different ways. And some people can't handle criticism, so you have to approach that a different way. So rather than approaching people equally, approach them equitably.
Yeah, that makes sense. So do you have any like favorite memories of being within the yearbook? I know you've probably been this for quite some time. Do you have any favorite memories that you look back on and be like, man, that's so cool?
Well, not necessarily with yearbook, but just in student publications. I remember my first journalism conference that I went to was TCCJA, so the Texas Community College, TCCJA, Texas Community College Journalism Association.
Okay.
And we had an assignment we had to do. We had to create a website, a multimedia website. So we had to have video, not audio, but we had photos and copy. They sent us out in Austin on 6th Street during Halloween weekend from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m.
Oh, wow.
And that was our deadline, was 6 a.m. So we literally got everything compiled, harassed by people on the streets.
Yeah, I bet 6th Street is it's crazy.
I saw a lady stick a nail up her nose at one point.
Wow.
It was really interesting, to say the least. But
that made for a good news story, I bet.
Oh, yeah. And that time we didn't end up winning anything for our package, but it was just the experience and getting to really talk with our peers and our staff members and network and things like that.
Yeah, A for effort. I mean, I can't imagine going up 6th Street at like 6 a.m. Oh man, that is insane. I've been a couple times and that's just insane. So.
Oh yeah, especially on Halloween weekend.
Oh
see
yeah,
all sorts of things.
Yeah. So what are you planning to do after grad school?
So I have been applying around, some on campus. I want to stay in the Nacogdoches area, but then eventually move forward and go to a bigger city. But something along the lines of PR or graphic design or photography, things like that.
Okay. Well, cool. So stay with us, and when we get back, we'll be talking about a little more of the production side of the yearbook. So stay tuned. Welcome back. Today we have Megan Morton, the editor-in-chief of the Stone Fort Yearbook, with us, and now we'll be taking a deeper look into how the yearbook is produced. So Megan, why don't you kind of give us like the step-by-step process on how it is produced?
So I'm going to start off on like what our staff does, because that kind of leads into that. So on our staff, we have photographers and we have section editors. Our photographers go out on assignment and take photos of different events, people, places. They even set up photo shoots and portrait shoots. Then we also have the section editors who use InDesign and Photoshop to create the pages that we have in this book right here. Something that I do want to brag about actually is we won 2nd place cover design at Texas Intercollegiate Press Association.
Nice.
The main part of this cover, it really captures 2020, 2021, I believe. And it has the lumberjack in a mask and really touching on COVID aspects that really affected our year.
That was definitely a big thing.
Mm-hmm.
So what makes the Stone Fort Yearbook so important to SFA?
Well, I would go even as far to say not just SFA, but the town of Nacogdoches in general. We have been publishing, our first book was published in 1924, and that covered the 23-24 year. So the very first year we were established.
Wow.
We're actually called the Stone Fort because we had our very first meeting in the Stone Fort, or one of the old stone forts.
That's really cool.
Mm-hmm. And then one of the first professors on campus, she was a historian, and she was the first advisor of the Stone Fort Yearbook.
Wow.
Yes.
That's really cool.
We have a long tradition of printing and publishing, and we actually have actually the first Stone Fort Yearbook in our offices over in the Student Center right now.
That's actually really cool.
So it's not just a history book for SFA, it's a history book for the town.
Yeah. So I know that it was in 1923. Next year is 2023. Do you have anything coming up special for the 100-year anniversary, or is that something you kind of give us a peek into, or?
I was actually thinking about that last night, and we're definitely gonna touch on the roots of the original book, I think. I won't be the editor-in-chief next year, but I've been talking with the incoming editor-in-chief, or one of the potential incoming editor-in-chiefs, and just discussing what she wants to do with the book. And it's very much student-led and student-produced in that we get to choose what's in here, what's not in here. what's important to the student body to cover and things like that. So of course, any current events that are happening on campus, like for example, we have coverage of last year's SGA vice president presidential run in here. In the coming up book, we have things that happened on campus this year, especially things that happened this fall. So yeah, just a lot to look forward to and a lot to see. A lot of diversity of coverage in this coming up book.
I'll definitely be on the lookout. I graduate next year, so it'll be kind of a cool little day thing. So how are the pages? Is there every staff member have like a certain page that they have to do? How does that work?
So a section editor gets a section to edit. We have sports. We have this year we've combined Greek life and organizations because they're organizations in general. And then we have academics, which kind of showcases who our administration is and then gets into the different tracks you can do here at SFA. And then we have just life, so things that occur to students. So for example, during that we have move-in day is one of our spreads, or Holler at Homer, which is the first pep rally you'll most likely attend on campus as a freshman.
Oh, that's really cool. So do you know where students can go to get more information? Is it SFA/Stone Fort Yearbook?
Well, to purchase your yearbook, you can go on your My SFA and then go under campus keep connected or something like that, and then under more you can do purchase my Stone Fort Yearbook. But if you want to keep up to date with us, we do have an Instagram. Just look up Stone Fort Yearbook SFA and you'll be able to find that. We post different photos covering the events we're going to cover in our book.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And that's all the time we have today, so thank you for watching this segment of SFA All Access. If you have any more questions, you go to mysfa/Stone Fort Yearbook. And other than that, adios. Have a great day.